and welcome to Round Robin. I'm Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton, and today we are going to introduce you as parents or people who know young children to an exciting new way to learn that is optional for our students. My guest is Kate Maxlow. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
This is really exciting. Like, I've heard little bits and pieces of it. You will be offering a virtual experience for elementary school kids.
Yes.
Now, why?
That is a fabulous question. So it really what did come out of the pandemic, although it was something that we thought about even before that. But during the pandemic, we saw that there were some students who actually really thrived in virtual education for a variety of reasons. Sometimes it was because they needed a little bit more time, and so working virtually, they could have that to work on assignments, etc. Sometimes it was that they needed less time and they wanted to get through their assignments more quickly.
Right. For kids who are, very bright or learn very quickly, you're not spending that time, hearing things more than you need to hear them.
Exactly. And then we have some students who, for a variety of reasons, sometimes, struggle being in the classroom, whether it's too much stimulation, whether it's some, emotional control, et cetera. And they, for the first time, found that they were loving school during the pandemic. And so we realized that, in Hampton City Schools, our mission is every child, every day, whatever it takes, which means that we need to keep up this type of program for these kids who really thrive in virtual education.
Well, and homeschool parents actually pay for online programs and teaching materials a lot of times. This comes free, right?
Yep, the program is 100% free for any student who lives in the state of Virginia. Now, if students come from out of division, they do need to supply their own devices and they need to have internet, but otherwise everything else is free.
So Hampton City Schools even provides the devices.
If you're in
a Hampton resident.
Correct, yes. Mm-hmm.
That is amazing.
Yep, all you have to do is you will have to come and pick up a Chromebook, and then we can also work to get low cost or free internet, just depending on various socioeconomic levels, etc.
And now I'm old school. Are there actual books that they open and read, or is it all online?
We're going to have a combination. We do believe, especially, the program next year is going to be for students in grades K through 5, and we know that especially our younger students do better when they have those physical books. So we are going to be providing some physical books. We're also working with our Hampton libraries so that students will be able to go to the libraries and check out books, have access to the library cards.
And also free Wi-Fi.
And free Wi-Fi at the libraries, yes. But we will also have just a ton of online books as well that the students will be able to access. We have lots of different programs, and of course the libraries have online books too. So they will have access to a wide variety of both paper and online books.
Now, a lot of young kids cannot sit in front of a computer the length of a school day.
Correct. I can't either.
Well, I have to some days, but it's hard, right?
It's very difficult.
And it's better for us to get up and move and do different things. So how does this work in that regard?
Right. So that was one of the commitments that we made, was that students would not be online more than 3 hours a day, and the younger they are, the less that they're going to be online in those synchronous Zoom classes. So parents, when they sign up, their kids will be online either mostly in the morning or mostly in the afternoon, so that they have the rest of that day free to do things like go to a playground or to take swim lessons or to,
They're providing their own PE and,
correct.
And also historical or educational experiences outside in life, like field trips. It's a field trip a couple of times a week.
Yeah, we're lucky to have so many things around here.
Space museum, you know, there's so much.
Right, exactly. And the other commitment that we've made is that during those synchronous Zoom sessions, so when everybody is online and you have the teacher in front of you, that the teachers aren't talking at the students, that the students are constantly doing something. So either they're talking with the teacher, they're talking with each other. If you're in kindergarten through second grade, there's quite a bit of dancing and yoga and all kinds of other things that go on to get the kids up and moving and ensure that not only do we keep their attention, but that they are getting some of that physical activity. And of course, it just any movement also helps with remembering concepts, etc. So that's another way that we're making sure that they're not just sitting there staring bored.
That's really disruptive in a classroom if everybody's moving while they're doing things. But in the Zoom thing, it's a little bit less so because you're only hearing and feeling your own thing. You're not getting bumped into or distracted by other kids.
Right. Yeah, the classroom management piece is completely different when you are online. Like you said, the teacher has a little bit more control. That we can turn off a camera if we need to. We can mute a student if we need to, and we try to use that very judiciously. But yeah, I love to, when I teach lessons for kindergartners and first graders, I love to have them yell at the screen. I just mute everybody, so I don't hear it. But they love it because they're getting to, sing as loud as they can. I don't know how their parents feel about it, but the kids love it, which is the important part.
Well, you don't want the parents helicoptering anyway. You want them at other times or to be there if something goes wrong, but
right.
They don't have to be involved directly during much of this time, I would think.
Not during the synchronous
time.
part. Yeah. When we're all in the Zoom together. And we do tell parents that, feel free to be there in the background. But yeah, we want to have that interaction between the student and the teacher and the other students.
Oh, and as a parent, that's helpful if somebody else takes some of the responsibility and the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're also really excited because I just wanted to share that we just launched this. We're going to be having lessons over the summer as well. We're calling it our summer remix lessons. So if anybody wants to go to our website, hcsflex.com, they can sign up to have their student take some of these lessons over the summer. There is a cost because we do have to pay our people during the summer.
Right.
But it's only about $12 a lesson, and we're going to give anybody who signs up is going to have access to a ton of games and everything else that you can do just to keep your kids' skills up over the summer. And it is a lot of things like mysteries or storytime yoga or scavenger hunts. Just really awesome, cool lessons that most people probably didn't realize could be virtual. And so that if anybody wants to see what it could be like, that's a great way just to get a little taste of it.
Kate, I imagine this is appealing to a number of teachers. Have you had any trouble recruiting?
Oh my goodness. We had over 100 teachers apply for 9 positions, which right now there's a teacher shortage. So that was amazing.
Yeah. And it may keep people in the profession who, were maxed out for a little while because this is a different way.
And not only that, but we told them that they just have to be online at the times they need to be online and have access to high-speed internet. So they don't even have to come to Hampton, which means that we had some of the best teachers from all around the Commonwealth and some from even outside of Virginia apply. One of our teachers lives in Pennsylvania. We have a few who live like in Virginia Beach and out west farther in Virginia. So it's we have some just truly amazing teachers who are going to be starting this program next year.
And so, unlike a homeschooling program, this is aligned with the standards of learning and the curriculum that students in Virginia have to have in order to move forward. Do they have to come in person to do the SOLs? The testing?
They do have to come in person to do SOLs. That is the only time they have to step foot on a Hampton City Schools campus. That's the Virginia Department of Education's requirements, not ours.
And for the elementary kids, that's not tons and tons. It's not like, later.
Right, and it's really only 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and the most they would have is 3 because 4th would take reading, math, and social studies. And obviously we'll work with parents to see how we can schedule that so it's not super obnoxious for them. 5th grade is math, reading, and science. And then 3rd grade is just math and reading.
So potentially, if you reach students outside of Hampton, or even outside of Hampton Roads, you might be able to partner with their school system to have their tests proctored wherever they are.
Yep, we were looking into a whole bunch of different ways to make it as convenient as possible for the parents while still meeting the VDOE requirements.
This sounds really exciting. Is there a downside to this?
I mean, not that I can see.
The parent has to be at home.
That's the big one, and we do get a lot of parents saying, oh, I wish I could do this. And so we're trying to start small this upcoming year. We only have 148 students registered just because we want that quality control. We want to see it really get off the ground. But in the future, one of the things I would love to do is to be able to offer even more classes. So maybe we would have some evening programs for elementary. So a student could go and, be with grandma and grandpa all day and go do the field trips and all that fun stuff. And then when the parent gets home, actually get online at that time. I've had several parents request something like that. I'm like, we just can't do it this year. But yes, we absolutely want to look into that.
And as you move into the older grades, those kids are more independent.
Correct.
Anyway.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So we'll be looking at some different flexibility options for the middle and high schools when we start rolling out for those levels.
This is really innovative. Is anybody else doing this? I mean, you guys seem to be at the forefront.
So you do see it in some other places. I know that soon after we rolled out ours, Virtual Virginia rolled out a similar option where it's mostly asynchronous, but you do have some teachers involved.
What does asynchronous mean?
Oh, sorry. So asynchronous means that we are not all online at the same time. So you can do your assignments whenever you feel like it, and synchronous means that we are all
there,
working on the same thing at the same time, usually via Zoom or Google Meet or whatever the platform is. I know that a few other school districts are starting their own. A lot of those tend to look more like regular school, in that you're online, like you need to be prepared to be online from about 9 a.m. to about 3 p.m. You're not necessarily, your kids aren't online all 6 hours, but it takes up
it could vary where
the majority of the day. We are the only place I know that is doing something called our Immersive Adventures, where Monday through Friday, the students are practicing the skills. They're still doing all that fun stuff, right? So we're still doing the dancing and the moving and the singing and whatnot. But on Fridays, they actually take place, they do simulations or role plays where they take what they've been using, and we have this incredibly creative storyline, almost like a little mini movie, but the kids are acting out or pretending to be a part of this simulation. So for instance, in third grade, because the social studies is all focused on ancient cultures, they find a time machine and they travel back to ancient China, and then the time machine breaks and they have to figure out how to get back to the future, so to speak. But they're going to do escape rooms, and they're going to do mysteries, and they have to use everything that they learned in reading and math and science and social studies in order to fix the time machine and get back to the future. And I don't know any other school division who's doing anything like that.
That sounds amazing.
Yes, I've seen the work that our people are doing on this curriculum.
Who worked on the curriculum?
It's mostly my team. So I'm the Director of Innovation and Professional Learning for Hampton City Schools, and I just have our digital learning specialists are some of the most creative and innovative people you'll ever meet. And so they've been working on it. Now that it's summer, some of our actual flex teachers who are going to be working next year are coming in and working on the curriculum as well. And then we have a handful of Hampton City Schools teachers who were recommended as truly innovative educators coming and reviewing it. We also have some of our student interns. I don't know if you know this, we employ some of our own students to come in and review our curriculum. So we'll have about 5 of our high schoolers coming in and working on some of it this summer, and we're also having some of our parents even review the lessons as well, just from their perspective. So it's
you have thought of everything.
Hampton City Schools effort.
That is brilliant.
I am so excited. It is, I sometimes struggle to pay attention to things, so a lot of it was like, I want to build a curriculum that I could have done at the age of 10.
Yes, I can understand that.
Right.
Well, are you full for next year, or is it okay? So people can't register for.
We are full for the free part of it, but we are going to be rolling out. They're not quite ready yet. This is hot off the presses news.
Okay.
But we are going to be having some paid classes that anybody in the whole world can sign up for next year. And we'll have different options. So if people just want to buy the curriculum and they just want to 100% do their own homeschooling efforts, awesome, great, here's how much it costs, go forth. We will give you our slide decks, we will give you the asynchronous activities, and you can implement it all on your own.
And that's brilliant too, because again, homeschool parents have to buy supplies, have to buy materials, have to buy curriculums, and this one would be aligned with what their students need to know in Virginia.
Absolutely, and so then if your student does intend to go back, at some point in the future, that what you've been doing is aligned. But there's also another level that you can buy where, okay, you can purchase all the materials and you can have a teacher review some of the assignments and provide feedback and give you ideas for working with your student. Because, sometimes parents really want to homeschool, but they're not necessarily educators.
Right.
So just having that teacher input. And then the third level is you buy the curriculum, you get the teacher input, and you can sign up for weekly lessons so that your student is actually interacting in a small group, no more than 8 students, but you have that benefit of the teacher working through with the students as well.
Okay, so if people are fired up about this, you're full for the 22-23 school year.
For the Free for Virginia option.
When do you start the waiting list for the next school year?
Oh, the waiting list is already, for the next school year. I was about to say, we have a waiting list for this school year.
I bet you do.
For next school year, we haven't quite decided on our timeline yet, but I would say probably sometime starting in January or February of 2023 is when we'll start advertising the openings for the following school year.
Okay, and be sure to share that with us. We'll put it on the cities, because people might not be, if they're not already in Hampton City Schools, they may not see it. So we can help share it in e-news and on the city social media.
Absolutely, yeah.
I am fascinated. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I would just like to also talk very briefly about our family game nights that we do. We're on hiatus for the summer, but once or twice a month next year, next school year, what we do is we have some of our families, either our flex teachers or our flex families, come and we do game show style Friday night events where everybody can log into Zoom and just have a really great time, and we do some giveaways during those. But that's another way that we're helping to build community, especially through the virtual, because it's remote and virtual. Exactly.
I saw those. We did promote those, and I'm thinking, how did they do games online? But the game show thing makes more sense. You can't play Monopoly online really easily. Maybe
we're working on it.
You're thinking of a way. I can tell.
We're working on it, but no, it is more things. Like, I'm not supposed to say the actual names of the game shows, but
more immediate kinds of things.
You might have 5 categories, and you answer questions worth a certain number of points for those categories.
Right.
But we are going to be looking at doing even more creative stuff next year, like maybe having a lip sync contest where staffs can make videos, or doing schools versus school teams, or we're going to be meeting in a few days to plan all of that out and come up with our lineup, and we'll definitely contact the city to let them know, because those are just so much fun.
How did you end up in this role? I mean, obviously you know what you're doing. You're very creative and innovative. What was your path to get to where you are?
Sure. So I started as a teacher. I taught 3rd and 4th grade when I was teaching. Eventually went on to become an instructional coach. And then
in our school system or elsewhere?
A neighboring school system.
Okay.
And then for 2 years, I was an educational consultant with a professor out of William and Mary. And then after that, I just wanted to be home more. I was traveling a lot, and I had a 5-year-old at home. So wanted to be with him more. And that's when I started working for Hampton City Schools as their professional learning coordinator. And then when this particular job came open, to be working not just with professional learning and training teachers, but also with the information and the technology piece, I applied, and that's how I became the Director of Innovation and Professional Learning. And like I said, I'm just a person who gets bored really easily, so I'm always like, okay, what can we do that's new? What can we do that's fun? And thankfully, I have the best staff in the entire world who will actually come up with the ideas and say, this is fun, and then we go off and do that.
That sounds great. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me so much.
Thanks. And thank you for watching. I know my eyes have been opened up as to new ways to do education, and certainly Hampton City Schools is in the forefront of that. Please, if you have interest in this, stay in touch. Watch when the enrollment opens. Look at the separate options. It'll be on the Hampton City Schools website. This is a fascinating opportunity. Thanks for watching.